3, hit it!
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to today's Caffeine for the Soul. If you haven't already done it, please check out the basic course at michaelneill.org/basic course. And it will give you a deeper understanding of the ideas that I talk about in these podcasts each week. And the idea I want to talk about in the podcast this week came from a client who works as a business consultant. And we were talking about high performance and we were talking about pressure. And she knows that I am a big advocate for eliminating pressure from the workplace and eliminating, that's whether you work with 100 people or you are a solopreneur and just work with yourself, that pressure is the enemy of high performance. And she challenged me on it. And she said, look, a lot of my clients, when I say that to them, they argue with me. And and she said, I kind of know what you mean, but I don't know what to say when they say, no, pressure is important. Pressure is what makes me good. Pressure is what hones me. Pressure is what turns lumps of coal into diamonds. And what I explained to her is pressure is a strategy that we use to create focused attention. Focused attention is the key to high performance. So in other words, there's no question that if somebody's head isn't in the game, if they're thinking about 12 other things while they're doing something, if they're kind of walking through something, they're phoning it in, they're going through the motions, you're probably not going to get the best out of them. And if that person is you, you're probably not going to get the best out of yourself. And so by way of contrast, when you are 100% focused on the task at hand, when you are locked in, when you are in a kind of an easy focused attention, and the word that's used most often for that is flow, in a state of flow, in the zone, in the groove, where everything's just happening and you're there and you're kind of even aware of yourself doing it as you're doing it, but all of your thoughts and all of your attention are on the task at hand. You do as well as it is possible for you to do. And the most common strategy that people have for trying to create that state of flow, that state of focused attention, is pressure. And they usually do it with the threat of a negative consequence. So they go, man, if I don't do this, I'm going to miss out on something. I'm not going to make it to the next round. I'm not going to get the sponsorship. I'm not going to get the promotion. I'm going to miss out on something. I'm going to fail. I'm going to let people down. That's a big one. Oh, everyone's depending on you. Everything's riding on this. And if you understand that pressure is a strategy, not a key to high performance in and of itself, then you can kind of evaluate whether or not it's working by, is the result of the pressure you're putting on yourself, or you think other people are putting on you, but you're taking on, easy focused attention? Is it putting you into flow? Is it putting you into presence? Or is it putting you in your head? Is it creating tension in the body, which in any form of performance is the enemy of high performance? And so whether or not you add pressure would just be measured very simply by, is this facilitating flow? Is this helping me focus my attention in a really clear and easy way, or is it getting in the way? And when I make that distinction with people, 99% of the time, they come back and tell me, the pressure is actually getting in the way. There's a story in the book Still Power by Garrett Kramer about a hockey player, Zach Parise. And Garrett was coaching him, and he was an all-star hockey player in the NHL. And Garrett was trying to explain his version of this to him. And Zach said, okay, if you've got an empty net and 10 pucks and you have to shoot them one after another, how many are going in the net? And Zach said 10. And he said, okay, now if I put a gun to your head and ask you to put 10 out of 10 in, how many? And Zach said 10. And he said, okay. Zach, this is one of the top hockey players in the world at the time. He said, what if I put a gun to your kid's head? And apparently Zach kind of got a little quiet and went, okay, I might miss one. We think pressure works to create high performance, to facilitate high performance, because we don't realize that it's just a strategy. And when you realize it's just a strategy, you also realize that there are way more efficient and effective strategies for creating focused attention than pressure. If the goal is easy, focused attention, then a strategy that works really well for that is eliminating distractions. If the goal is easy, focused attention, then something that works really well for that is to give something your full attention. If the goal is easy, focused attention, then something that really helps with that is letting go of tension as you notice it coming up in you while focusing on the task at hand. And what's great about all those strategies that isn't true about pressure is there's no side effects. Because the problem with pressure is that while it often does, especially in the short term, lead to focused attention, it also leads to burnout, it leads to stress, it leads to headaches, it leads to a host of problems that then create a host of additional problems in order to solve them. So, if you want to experiment with it, I encourage you to just take this idea, take it into a performance situation somewhere in your world where you need to deliver, and see what happens if you refuse to use pressure, but you work towards easy, focused attention. Have fun, learn heaps, happy exploring, and I'll talk with you soon.